Hey guys, welcome back to today's video. Today we have Joe Biden versus Gary Johnson, essentially just the Democratic Party versus the Libertarian Party. The reason why I decided to do this because I was interested as if the Republican Party was taking out of the political discussion, and the Libertarian Party instead nominated someone to go up against the Democratic Party so they wouldn't be unopposed, sorry. So it would just really be an interesting matchup. So we have up here, I've actually removed the numbers for the Gary Johnson side because it would normally show up on the Republican Party, but you're actually going to see it as yellow, therefore indicating it's part of the Libertarian Party, whereas you'll still see Joe Biden under the blue, but just his number will be up here. So, again, Joe Biden versus Gary Johnson, a little bit different than what we normally see because of the fact that this is a Democrat versus Libertarian the Libertarian Party, which holds both liberal and conservative values, a little bit more liberal on the social side, and a little more conservative on the economic side. So this is an interesting party versus the Democratic Party, one of the most established parties and part of the two-party system. So right now we have Joe Biden. We know he will win the West Coast. That's not really much of a discussion. A lot of these conservative states we could see either go to the Democratic Party, and a lot of these liberal states we could see going to the Libertarian Party. The Libertarians can definitely grab a lot of the Republican vote, but a lot of the Republican vote might go to Joe Biden because he is that candidate, a bipartisan candidate, not too left-leaning. So a lot of these safe states I'm going to fill in now are safe states that I think would be safe for the Democratic Party. That's a couple of these states up here. Vermont, I was going to leave that one as a toss-up, but not really. And as for safe for the Libertarian Party, honestly, states like Texas, where they got a considerable amount of the vote, Oklahoma, Kansas, pretty much across the Trump belt. Where else could... But a lot of these swing states, these would be considered toss-ups, and that's because the Libertarian Party is not as strong as the Republican Party. Although they may grasp a lot of their voters, the Libertarian Party is not that big by itself, whatsoever, actually. So Utah, actually, yeah, because they are the third party, essentially. So these are all the swing states and the safe states. 143 electoral votes for Gary Johnson, 282 for Joe Biden, I apologize. We know history's history. These states are probably Colorado, New Mexico, I'm not going to touch, but Nevada, probably not going to Gary Johnson. I mean, the Rust Belt, probably not going to Gary Johnson. And the reason behind it is the Libertarian base is already small. I apologize. They didn't even get 5% on the national level. So if you factor in maybe half of the Republican voters, or 75% of them that would go for Gary Johnson, that's still 25% that's going to other voters or the Democratic nominee. And that's not good. Essentially, the Democrat would win this election, so I'm going to finish it off with states like Virginia, Ohio, Iowa. These states that would generally be swing states, the Democratic Party would have a lot more strength in. Going down to states like Arizona, I don't want to touch this yet, but Florida, most definitely, Maine, New Hampshire, all these states, Joe Biden would be the winner. North Carolina, a state that, what's his name? Barack Obama carried in 2008, and almost carried in 2012, and Hillary Clinton narrowly lost in 2016. That one would go back to the Democratic column. Keep in mind this is 2020, but it wouldn't really matter that much. I'm not going to factor in the Trump effect or the year or the incumbent factor, anything like that. This is just a pure matchup between these two. So then we have states like Indiana, Missouri. Missouri, I think, has a little bit more of a Republican libertarian ground, but I think Indiana would also go to the Democratic Party. I think they would also be able to win in that state. Grasping a lot of votes out of the state of Georgia, I definitely think that the Democratic Party would make gains in the state of Georgia, especially since what we've seen in Alabama, Virginia, and New Jersey. The Democrats should not be underestimated when the Republican vote is split. Colorado, New Mexico, Gary Johnson, I think, could win New Mexico, but I think he'd lose Colorado, even with the weed stance and everything. A lot of these voters would retain the Democratic column, even though Gary Johnson is a strong supporter of legalization of weed. They aren't one-issue voters. There are other issues that affect them, and I don't see that much of an agreement. He did win more in Colorado than he did in some other states, but it's still, I don't think it's enough. But the fact that he's from the state of New Mexico, I think that could really help him in a general election. But Arizona, I think that one would go to the Democratic Party as well. Leaving the final electoral map, 380 electoral votes for Joe Biden, and 158 for Gary Johnson. Thank you guys for watching this video. Stay tuned for a new election night coming out soon. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.